She posted it like a decree. A sun-filtered selfie, lips pressed into that practiced half-smile, captioned in neat, confident type, "Know your worth." The heart swelled, the crown emojis appeared, strangers typed facts, and friends left ardent praise. I read the sentence once, twice, as if the meaning might change with every pass. On the screen she was flawless, composed, radiant, the kind of woman whose life looked curated into honest magazine spreads. In the apartment, though, the silence had teeth. 3 nights earlier she'd kissed me goodbye at the door, and told me she was going out with co-workers. "Just drinks," she said, the kind of casual lie that sounded like an apology. She tucked her hair behind one ear, shrugged into her jacket, and left with the easy confidence we'd both learned to mistake for truth. I watched her go and told myself the things you tell someone you love. That trust is the scaffolding of a relationship, that the small freedoms are evidence of strength, not cracks. At 2 a.m. my phone chimed with a tagged photo from a place downtown. A rooftop bar I didn't know she frequented. The image was a frozen frame of a laughing group, glasses raised to a night that smelled like lacquer and neon. I squinted and the laughter sharpened into a single clear thing. The man at her side who had his arm slung casually around her waist, the way his hand rested a fraction of an inch lower than friendship should allow. The angle of his smile was intimate in a way I recognized because I'd once practiced it with her. I told myself filters lie. I slept poorly and dreamed of small scenes where her laugh belonged to someone else. Morning turned to afternoon, and the garden of my suspicion grew wild. I tried to let it die, watering it with arguments with myself until the reasoning drowned. But curiosity is a slow animal. It waits until you forget you closed the door. One afternoon, when she'd left her phone charging face down by the kettle and stepped out to the shop, I crossed the line I had promised I wouldn't. I unlocked the device with the thumb that knew its way, like a ghost seeking permission. The messages opened like an unsealed envelope. There it was, a stream of texts with a name I'd never seen in her life, Alex. The conversation started like many do. Jokes, silly memes, a shared gripe about terrible coffee. Then the tone bent toward a quiet that excluded me. Early morning check-ins, photos of 2 plates at late dinners, little inside jokes that had never been ours. One photo stopped me dead. A blurry morning shot of a bed, sunlight pooling across sheets. The caption read simply, "Woke up like this." Her face was half hidden beneath a tangle of hair, her cheek flushed and content. Beside her, a hand I'd never learned to recognize curled on the pillow, thumb brushing the edge of a phone. The image felt like poison in my bloodstream. 100 small betrayals arranged themselves into a single, undeniable truth. When she returned, I didn't confront her with the violence of accusation. I am not a man given to scenes. Instead, I watched. She moved around the apartment with the same grace I'd loved, making tea, humming under her breath, arranging the mail with the same meticulous attention she always had. The public persona she curated retained its luster. Another post about self-love, another comment about boundaries. Her feed was a careful construction of virtue. Her private life was a different architecture, doorway she'd opened for someone else. That evening, when the low hum of the city stitched itself into the curtains, I took the phone and set the screen between us. The light from the table lamp made the glass look like an altar. She read, and the expression in her face did not shatter into melodrama so much as morph into something begrudgingly human. First the quick flash of guilt, then the attempt at control, and finally the rationalization she had rehearsed 1,000 times inside her head. "It didn't mean anything," she said. "We were lonely. It was a mistake." Her words were small stones, papering over a hole. I listened and counted her syllables. There was a mechanical quality to her apology, a line I had heard from others who'd been caught between comfort and consequence. She promised honesty, promised to end whatever it was, promised to rebuild. In the glow of the lamp she seemed tired in a way that made her look both fragile and dangerous. Words, I had learned, can be like ornaments, beautiful to behold but hollow. Knowing your worth, I thought, is more than a caption. It's an accumulation of choices. The quiet ones, the ones that are made when no one is watching. It's the decision to put down a phone and listen, to show up for small rituals, to refuse the easy temptation that shaves at the edges of what binds 2 people together. I could have erupted, Could have made her pay in public the way hurt men do in cheap dramas. But vengeance is a cold instrument, and I prefer a quieter blade. I packed a single bag the next morning. A sweater she used to say smelled like the sea, a book with both our names written on the flyleaf, the little plant she'd bought on our first anniversary. I left them on the kitchen table with a note folded like a careful paper plane. You taught me something I didn't know I needed to learn. I know my worth now. Don't confuse your public truth with your private life. She found the note as I was halfway down the stairs. Her face collapsed into something that was not quite regret, and not quite the desire to mend. She reached for my hand, for an apology, for the small mercy of being forgiven. I did not take it. Forgiveness without change is a lease on future pain. And I refused to be a tenant in a house built on lies. Outside, the city made no effort for me. Cars sighed. A woman swore at a dog that refused to be calm. A rooster of noise crowed across the market. My chest, which had been full of rubble, felt lightened by degrees. Knowing your worth is a lesson best learned by living it. And sometimes you must leave to see the borders of your own dignity. Weeks later, when her feed filled with more bright slogans and another man's shadowed photos disappeared from the tags, there was an odd emptiness to the applause. The comment sections applauded virtue without consequence. Friends sent supportive hearts. For the rest of my days, I will carry the memory of that bed photo like a memento that taught me to value the unseen truth over public praise. I walked on, a man not made new by heartbreak, but sharpened by it. The captions she wrote were hers to keep. My life would be constructed from quieter acts, steady mornings, honest conversations, and the slow, stubborn work of honoring what I had promised myself.